what was happening at the time.
What was I was just going to say, what's the first one that you put together, Greg, that really showed the potential for this, where everybody went, oh, wow, that's game changing?
I think from an outsider perspective, I'd say the roastery, when we started pulling in data from Sage and then seeing it side by side with Cropster data, I mean, that was pretty cool. So you could see your invoices, your sales coming in, and then marry it up with your inventory. So just seeing that side by side. And I will say, within Teams, Power BI, just the ability to pin a tab and just to see it kind of in line with your communications. I think the whole thing that became really powerful. And then being able to see it at a daily level instead of stepping back every week or every couple of weeks just to get your head around it was pretty powerful.
It's awesome. So why don't you give us a demo? I know we'd love to kind of take a look at some of the stuff. So why don't you walk us through and show some of the things that you've created?
Yeah, one of the big things that we had to do at the start of the pandemic was restart our subscription service and get to a point where we had to cancel all of our subscribers and get in touch with them to restart a service, an improved service, a service that we knew that was going to be better. And that's where we started. So this is the delightful landing page that Harrison has curated for our website. And you're going to click on the subscriptions. This will take you through. So you can choose, why you choose us based on our sourcing and our roasting, and someone can start a subscription. You're going to go through and we asked people, coffee's personal. How do you drink your coffee? What type of coffee would you like? How much coffee you want is a really important question as well. And whether you'd like it to be whole bean or ground coffee. And this was the crazy thing here. This slider allowed you to choose how regularly you want a shipment. Now, this created over like 3,200 SKUs on the back end of our website. So this was something that we really knew the BI would help with. So, we then go into the back end of the website. You see our WooCommerce, and you have to go through and you see all these subscribers, over about 300 at the moment. And each time we'd have to select the options we want and hit the exporter, and that would curate this crazy spreadsheet that had loads of zeros and ones and a load of other columns as well. And then we would spend a few hours in the morning just deleting the unnecessary columns and rows, and then putting this into a position that would allow us to create a roasting schedule. So we could work out how many batches we needed to roast and how much coffee we needed to roast, filter versus espresso, and all this kind of stuff. So it was, as you've seen already, it was rather laborsome.
Right.
We then, once we got to a point that we understood the batches, we'd go across into our Cropster software. Cropster is a roasting interface that allows us to track all of the roast data, the temperature that we have in the drum, how many beans are in there, and link that back up to all of the QC work that we do as well. So we curate this schedule from the orders a couple of hours later, and then get ready to roast the coffee so that then we could ship it off to our subscribers. So we had 3 systems. We had WooCommerce, we'd export it, we'd roast it in Cropster, and then we get across to Sage to raise invoices. Greg put all this into one dashboard, and the Roasted in House was the first breakthrough. There's this beautiful dashboard that allowed us to see all of the coffee that we were roasting. We could slice by customer. We could slice by product line. We could see the volume by month. We could see the month-on-month rate, whether it was less or more, or day by day. And this was updating hourly for us. So it saved so much work.
Wow.
The sourcing dashboard allowed us to see where our coffee was sourced from, what that looked like from a monetary perspective. How were we exposed when global logistics was pretty weird for a period, but also see it on a map. It was quite interactive to see the spread of the coffees that we get across the world. And then the game changer, the aha moment for us was this online page. It allowed us to take that huge spreadsheet you saw just now and put it into one dashboard. You had a really nice organized calendar that you could slice by day, by week, or by month. And then this automatically translated it into the exact questions we were asking on the website. How much coffee? How much volume? What was the spread? Is it beans? Is it ground? And this really got us, well, it saved me a few hours a day, but also it allowed us, when we realized that our website had inside it all of the subscribers for the future, So with this data in hand, we could start to see orders that hadn't officially been raised yet. And that allowed us to buy and predict better crop cycles for coffee, and really get us ahead of the curve. We've always wanted to be reactive rather than proactive, and Power BI really allowed us to do that.
That's really the key, because reactive is when you're unfortunately so busy doing things, you're not really getting the chance to think about how we can do this better, smarter, do things better or different. And moving to a proactive mode, when you really understand what's happening and why things are happening, and especially looking at things like outliers, it also creates new opportunities. And it sounds like that's exactly what this did.
Yeah.
Trying to get a grasp on it when everything else, it was just, everything was crazy. Trying to understand and simplify our data and see it in a way like that was visual, it didn't make our brains want to explode in the mornings, was probably one of the most valuable things that we did at the very beginning, and has helped us throughout even till now.
Wow. And that extra time we gained each day as well allowed us to focus on other things that could add value. So rather than me trying to disseminate a spreadsheet each day, it meant that I could speak to Harrison and be like, Harrison, look, we've got these amazing coffees coming up. We can now see the trends. We can see what people are liking. Let's think of creative ways that we can continue to market this. This website was really carrying our business during the first lockdown. So it was vital that we could innovate, not just react to the orders that were coming in each day.
Right.